fear through Killarney. Now I'm back to hitching with the wind. But if Mickey Flynn should ever find me, I'll throw me caution all behind me and square off on that son of a bitch again. He cracked open a river too, he beat me Sunday through and through, and so jiggle my unconscious frame. I won me healthy sheriff fights, well lucky son still had me life since Mickey Flynn beat me dumb and lame.
Ooh, we are chasing the pennant tonight again. We are the CTP podcast here for AMYP Network. I am your host tonight, Shane, and I am joined by Sean. Sean, how are you, sir?
Pretty good. Pretty excited to talk about some interesting topics. I think we picked a couple good topics for tonight.
I agree. Rob, you are the founder of one of those topics. How are you, sir?
I'm doing just fine. Just enjoyed myself a nice uncut grilled cheese sandwich, so I'm doing pretty well.
You're a real piece of shit for that. And we have Andrew. Andrew, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Third podcast of the day, so looking forward to another one.
Good Lord, man. Good for you. Hustling over there. That's well done. I'm honestly impressed by you and your entire existence. And then Scott. Scott, you have some shit to say to Rob after that, so I'm going to turn this one directly over to you.
I mean, I was having an okay day until I was reminded again that there are savages in this world that don't cut sandwiches. I actually have another sandwich-related question that I'm going to bring to the group here. Thinking about just spinning off a podcast here and just talking sandwiches a couple times a week.
Sure, man.
Sandwich podcast, I like it.
Yeah, Sandwich King. You know, everyone look out for me. I'm definitely never going to do this, but I'll make it a recurring bit here. Why not? So, bread is a problem on the West Coast. I've constantly been looking for a good piece of Jewish rye bread, which I firmly believe is the best bread you could have a sandwich on. You know, maybe like a baguette's pretty good as well, but recently I've been fucking around with some sourdough. And I came to the realization the other day, I'm probably on like week 3 or 4 of this sourdough binge I've been on. I went to make myself a classic ham and roast beef sandwich, throw a little mayo on there, and I had toasted the sourdough. I went to cut it diagonally, Rob, you fucking savage. And I took a look at the bread, and I ate it, and I had my, the first bite in there, and it resonated with me. I don't think I like sourdough anymore, and I think I've been faking it for the last 3 to 4 weeks. So
You know
I
why
need
you
some
don't like
clarification. Because I cut
Because
it.
you cut it.
Yeah.
Well, have you tried not cutting it?
No, maybe that's what'll bring me back to it, and I'll fall back
Maybe
in love
you should
with
just
sourdough.
go butter a piece of toast real quick and don't cut it and bite into it. And then when it's still something you don't like, it had nothing to do with the cut, and Rob's still wrong.
Yeah, I mean, well, so I wanted to present it to you guys. Is sourdough a trash bread? And if it is, then what should I pick up when I go to the store after this? And definitely need to re-up on bread. We're bringing you only the hottest topics here at Chasing the Pennant.
It's true. I'll let anyone else open this because I could talk bread forever.
I would just go with white bread. I mean, I'm not a big sourdough fan either, but I think white bread's my favorite. Maybe even wheat. I'm a fan of wheat.
Wheat's good. Potato bread's where it's at, though.
Potato bread might
I
be the
agree.
move.
Potato bread and white are pretty good for me. I'm kind of like a plain guy when it comes to that. But when it comes to, having like pasta, like a lot of times my family have pasta, and we'll either have sourdough bread or rye on the side with butter, if anybody else does that.
Yes. So here's the thing. Your original take was correct and accurate. The bread that you need to be using in your life, especially for sandwiches, like primarily for sandwiches, I would say, if you're not going with like a hoagie roll, it needs to be Jewish rye. Like you need to go to like an actual like really good bakery, like a little mom and pop place that no one knows exists, that the entire existence of their family relies on making this one fucking loaf of bread perfectly every time.
Yeah,
It's gold.
I agree. I've been in search of it since I've been down here, and I have not found a good one.
Make it yourself, lazy.
Oh, maybe I do start making bread. Then I can really turn it into a sandwich podcast.
And this is where I'm going to turn this thing. I just made a sourdough bread. And you know what?
Nice.
It was fucking delicious. So you're incredibly wrong about sourdough. Just
Okay.
letting you know. Obviously, it has nothing to do with the cut. Let's just start with that. I'm just going to say that, and because this is something I've known from a lot of people who have been on the West Coast, that like bread products are just not the same over there. Like it just doesn't work. And I don't know why that is. I don't know how you guys have not figured it out. But sourdough is a really good bread. So when you are back here, there's several places in downtown Philadelphia that I absolutely love that will just give you bread that weighs more than your body. And it's wonderful. So, and sourdough is one of them.
We
Yeah,
have to tackle those places in the Philly pod, by the way.
100% yes.
I'm a bread snob because I grew up. My dad worked for Amoroso, so he'd bring home rolls every day, and he would bring me home a loaf of Jewish rye every single week that I would have my sandwich for lunch on. So I'm spoiled, but fuck it. I've got nothing better to do right now. I'm gonna go on this eternal quest and try to find the best Jewish rye around here. Stay tuned. I will be reporting back about it.
Definitely do it. You should go Barstool-ish and just stand outside the bread wherever you're purchasing this bread from and do a review, like video. Give them all a rating.
Yeah, fuck it. Why not?
Get Portnoy style.
Yeah, but Scott's so much more charming and handsome than a fucking tool Portnoy. I still love his shit though. But still, Scott would have more success.
Yeah, well, bakeries of Southern California, watch out. You're all put on notice right now. Start making your best rye bread, and I'll come find it.
No more fucking around out there.
No, definitely not.
It's an oddly aggressive statement coming from someone who doesn't know how to use a knife.
I know how to use a knife. I just choose not to.
That's still weird. All right, well, you knifeless individual, we're going to kick this one over to you for your JT Realmuto part.
Oh, my God. Okay, well, I think that all of Philadelphia is getting impatient with this whole contract thing here. And it's getting more and more important because do the Phillies realize that they have the best catcher in baseball? I mean, this guy's irreplaceable. He's the best defensive catcher absolutely in baseball. Offensively, he fucking rakes. Just last number, I'm going to rattle off some numbers. 275 with a 328 on base, 493 slugging, career high 25 homers, 83 RBIs. And he was 9 out of 10 in stealing bases, which doesn't say much, but he can run the bases a lot better than most catchers can. He's the most well-rounded catcher in all of baseball, which is why he's the best catcher in baseball. And I just wish that the Phillies and John Middleton and Matt Klentak would realize that and place a higher priority on just getting something done, because it could be catastrophic if Realmuto ends up playing for another team after this year. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Do you have the same sentiment as I do that they absolutely need to get something done, or are you all of the belief that eventually something will get done before this becomes a problem?
I think I'm worried about it getting done. I think it definitely needs to be a need of the Phillies. I think it's a spot they've lacked basically throughout the history of the franchise, outside a couple names. Like, for how long the franchise has been around, you can only pick out probably a handful of catchers that were actually like top tier and like really good. So I think that's obviously a spot that they've always lacked, and they need to get this one done, especially when you have the best catcher in baseball. I mean, if it's not like it's some like average player that's just going to sit out there and go to a different team, but if he goes to, say, a big division contender or something, it's going to be very bad, and it could go very bad in the sense of you gave up a decent amount for him at least too. So you don't want to make that trade just for 2 years worth of him, maybe even one if there's not a season.
Yeah, it's another thing. We gave up a good haul. We gave up Sixto. We gave up Jorge Alfaro, who's a very solid catcher in his own right, although not quite on the same level as JT. But yeah, we did give up a lot to get him. And if we can keep him around, that's what'll make it worth it. But if we don't, then no, that trade becomes a bust if we're not able to keep him around past this season. So they need to get something done here. I think it would put a lot of Phillies fans' minds at ease if they would at least show that it's a priority and show that they're working towards getting something done here.
One of the things that. Oh,
Guys,
sorry. Go ahead. No, go ahead, Sean.
I agree. It would absolutely put my mind at ease. It would absolutely put everybody's mind at ease. And I look at this a lot at how like I looked at Bryce's situation when he was a free agent. Like everything that happened, it was aimed at the Phillies. You know, everything like between the stupid money quote to the situation we were in. It just seemed like everything was going to come down to the Phillies are going to get this guy. And as shaky as my confidence was with all of the, John Heyman tweets and everything, I was still confident we were going to get Bryce. And I'm still confident we're going to get JT because it feels like his family's being raised here. It feels like he's close enough with Bryce and his wife. It just makes too much sense for him to stay.
So you think that he's already leaning towards staying here?
And on top of that, I think beyond him leaning towards staying here, yes, I think we're going to give him the best offer. I don't think any team is going to offer him anything more than, what John Middleton is. I think John Middleton wants him to stay more than anybody. Any fan, I guess.
Okay, well, I certainly hope you're right about that. And, Middleton hasn't been spending the stupid money that he said he was going to spend ever since, like I said last time I was on, the stupid money began and ended with Bryce. So if JT is going to stay here, then that needs to change. He needs to go back to that stupid money. But for right now, as fans, all we can do is resort to making our pitches to JT Realmuto to stay here in Philadelphia. And I don't know how many of you guys, if you have any pitches of your own ready, but I've got one right here that I'm going to rattle off. I got 10 reasons. So this is gonna be interesting here, but here we go. Dearest Jacob Tyler Realmuto, aka JT, aka best catcher in baseball or BCIB. We know that you're mulling over your options for the future of your baseball career, but let's be real, your best option is to stay right here in the city of brotherly love. There are plenty of reasons why.
Rhyme, by the way.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Did you intend for that to rhyme?
Honestly, no. Anyway, there are plenty of reasons why, but I'll narrow it down to 10 in no particular order. Number 1, where else can you get a real, authentic Philly cheesesteak? The answer is nowhere else. Outside of Philadelphia, you'll only find the fake bullshit version. No Jim's or Steve's or D'Alessandro's. Nope, you only get that right here in Philadelphia. Number 2, even though Harry Kalas passed away in 2009, every home run you hit at CBP is still blessed with his call. That's something you should consider a privilege, and you won't get that anywhere else. Number 3, Citizens Bank Park is home to the best damn mascot in all of baseball, hands down. Number 4, you now have a former catcher managing your team, someone who understands the wear and tear on your body and will rest you accordingly. Number 5, said new manager isn't a tree-hugging hippie, so you no longer have to worry about the smell of way too much coconut oil emanating from the manager's office. Number 6, go to sleep dreaming of a lineup with you, Bryce, Reese, Kutch, Alec Boehm, and maybe even Sir Didi. I can guarantee that you'll wake up with morning wood 100% of the time. I know that most of us fans go full chub dreaming of that lineup. Number 7, while our owner is quite stingy with the money, just know that you can greatly supplement your income by investing in Crisco whenever the city has a championship contending team. Number 8, when a team is struggling, don't worry, Howie Roseman will find a way for Philly fans to redirect their anger towards him. Number 9, it can't possibly be worse than playing in Miami. And lastly, number 10, Shane still owes Bryce about 17 dinners at Morton's Steakhouse, and if you ask him nicely, I'm sure he'd be willing to treat you to one too. So there we go. There's my 10 reasons, JT. Take it or leave it.
You did screenshot this, right?
I can screenshot. I have it in my notes on my phone. I can screenshot it if we need it up somewhere.
We absolutely need it up.
See, I imagine that you wrote that like in a crown as like a 3-year-old would on like the back of like a used piece of paper or something. So it's all crinkly and like the S's are backwards in like an adorable fashion.
Oh man,
It's like Mac to Chase.
Exactly.
pretty much.
100%.
Pretty much. That's where I got my inspiration right there. So
And
does anyone
JT,
else?
Where else can you get that outside of Philadelphia?
Absolutely. Thank you for nailing home point number 11 right there. All right. So does anyone else have a pitch to JT Realmuto to stay in Philadelphia?
Yeah, I got a little pitch over here.
Let's hear it.
All right. So to put everyone in the mindset for this, imagine Scott in a boardroom, slick back hair, got little bit of beard oil in there because you know I'm a beard guy now. Looking just fresh to death and ready to crush this pitch. Scott walks into the room. He says, "JT, how are you? How was your ride in? How is your family?" Small joke is dropped, and JT laughs. The room is feeling good. Scott's looking good and ready to talk baseball with JT. Scott sits down, pulls out a small piece of paper, and goes, "JT, you are a valued member of the Philadelphia community. We need you here. You need to be here. Please accept this small offering." And I pass the paper across the table. He looks at it, sees a 4-year, $100 million offer with a $5 million signing bonus, which I don't think you get again, but we'll give it to him. But most importantly, we offer him a 6-month span where the city is forbidden from saying a bad thing about him on social media, the news, the radio, and in any fashion. No one has ever been offered this in the history of Philadelphia sports. It's something that we need to start adding into all contracts. And I think he instantly signs on that. I walk out of the room, hop back on the plane to California, and me and JT are best friends now.
I like the slick back hair and beard oil.
Yeah, I'm trying to look like Conor McGregor now.
Oh, that's a good look, man.
Yeah.
That's even more like Mac and Chase, being best friends.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna. My only comment is, if you think he's signing for 4 years, $100 million, you might as well not even get on the plane. That's the only critique.
But it's an invaluable contract. I mean, 6 months with no fear of negative attention in the Philly media.
Can he pick his shoes?
He's going to sign a 5-year, $125 million contract in a city that's not going to do that to begin with.
But we're best friends now, so you're also devaluing my friendship here.
And you'll get to have a catch with him too after he signs at another organization and comes back for a retirement day.
There you go.
That's good. I like that pitch, Scott.
Yeah. One of the things that is kind of tripping me up about this is I don't know what everyone in the Phillies organization is doing. Everyone's bored as shit. Why aren't you just sending him gifts or talking to him on Zoom a couple times a week? Fuck, Andrews recorded 19,000 podcasts during the quarantine, and we can't even get the Phillies front office to talk to JT. They're acting like this isn't a priority. I don't know. I think they need to offer him a higher and higher number now at this point because they've just let it go.
Because knowing our front office, they probably lost his phone number somehow.
Trials and tribulations of the Philadelphia fan.
They've probably been calling the Skype on his computer this whole time, but they need to call the Skype on his phone. I encounter that issue all the time with you guys. So.
My apologies,
Very
man.
easy. Yeah. It's okay. I'll accept the $100 million contract from you as well, Jay.
No problem. I can't give you the $5 million on the signing bonus, man. So I'll just give you some beard oil.
There you go.
All right. So do we have any more pitches for JT?
I'd say one thing to add is, again, going back to one thing I said earlier is, I mean, for a storied franchise, there's not too many good catchers. So you become the best catcher, not only in baseball, but the best catcher of a storied franchise very quickly, and then eventually get your number retired by the organization, probably, just because, again, how less or how few of catchers you have here, he could definitely become the best franchise catcher of all time.
So you're saying he's going to be a Hall of Famer?
Yes.
Because that's the criteria that apparently is needed for the Phillies to retire a number.
I think if he has a couple
It's
more
the
seasons,
correct criteria.
It is
It's
the correct criteria.
Absurd how many people just throw up a number in the rafters.
Yeah, that's it is the correct criteria, but I guess what you're saying is you're showing faith in that he's going to end up being a Hall of Fame catcher, which
Yeah, I do. Think.
I like. I see it as well. He certainly is on the track to be there. So, all right, no more pitches for JT.
I got one.
Here.
Well, my original thought was convince him that our lineup is stacked, but I guess I'm not as creative as I thought it was, and getting offended by Shane calling all of us not creative when Rob pitched this idea to us. He said, what if we all come up with pitches for JT Realmuto? And Shane said, with the exception of one or two of us, we are not creative enough as a podcast to come up with these pitches to make it somewhat funny. But obviously he's wrong, except for
Clearly.
me. He was completely right about me, because I could not come up with anything. So like I did with the uniform bracket, I went to my girlfriend, and she said, just tell him that if he comes back to Philly, he's not going to have to watch Andrew Knapp start more than 20 games a season. And although I'm the pro Knapp guy of the podcast, I thought that was hysterical. So that is my pitch. You would block Andrew Knapp from starting more than 22 games a season like he has done for the past few years.
Andrew Knapp prevents Andrew Knapp from starting 22 games a year. He stinks. Although he is a fine, serviceable backup catcher, no matter how much I hate him.
Extremely average.
Extremely average. Defines average. My only lasting comment on the BCIB pitch here is, since we are a city of quarterback development, and he was in fact a star high school quarterback, I'm going to also offer him whatever slot on the quarterback depth chart for the Philadelphia Eagles as well, with a doubled salary, and allow him to cross sports lines and play both sports should he choose to, and only against the competition with which he chooses to play against. So if you don't want to play against the dog shit Giants, you don't.
Philly's very own Bo Jackson. I love it.
Yeah, he's better looking.
Can you imagine JT Realmuto like finishing up a Phil's like game early in the morning, or finishing up an Eagles game early in the morning, and then just walking across to the other stadium with his like helmet over his shoulder, or like his baseball bag, and like, he stops and picks up some McDonald's like every kid does after they're playing like 4 games. He's just ready to go.
Oh man. That would be a hell of a scene right there.
Yeah.
Okay. I gotta edit some time out here, clearly.
Oh god.
Rob, you got anything else there?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I went through my pitch. I spent a lot of time and a lot of creativity that apparently I don't have, but really I do, on making that happen. So yeah, there's my pitch, and that's all I've got on Jacob Tyler Realmuto, aka BCIB.
I really hate how you just said the word creativity. Just so we're clear, you pronounced every syllable just so sharply. It made me cringe. That's too proper and correct for the city of Philadelphia, and that's the type of shit that would get JT to not fucking sign here.
Too proper and correct, yet you hate the word, John.
Well, that's because that's a bullshit word, and don't use that. You owe a goddamn story. All right. Before we get to Rob's story, I'm going to give you a little bit of time to plan, because Lord knows you've just used all the creative juices that are in your body to formulate a 10-point thing for JT.
So I can't do it. I can't make up a story right now. I need to do my story on a later show. I can't just plan out.
No, you don't get the Boric treatment. Hard no.
No, I get at least one show's grace. Come on.
I know that before we sign off tonight, my friend, you will come up with some sort of story.
Want to bet?
Either that, or you're allowing my creativity to maybe false or maybe true embarrassment of Rob Gilmore, and then I'm going to tell a story about you that no one's going to know whether or not it is or is not in fact true, and you're going to have to live with whatever I come up with.
Jesus Christ, I'm being thrown under the bus here.
That's a tough go, but you're going to have like 35 minutes to do this, because Andrew's got like 21 AMA type of questions for us. You got time, man. You could check out of some of those things. Don't worry about it. But before we go to Andrew's bracket, before we go to Andrew's AMA, we have Andrew's bracket. And Sean's actually going to host this portion specifically because of the amount of research he did. I'm pretty sure this is now his bracket, even though all of the research went for naught, as it did not, in fact, prove to be the winner of that particular uniform matchup. But Sean, I'm going to turn this one over to you for the final four of Andrew's uniform bracket.
All right. Yeah. And I'm not taking over the bracket. This was all Andrew's idea. I just get very invested. So we are in the final four. And I'm not sure. I haven't actually checked out what the fan bracket has turned out up to this point. But for our podcast, we have the two teams left in the American League are the Athletics and the Rays. And the two teams left in the National League are the Phillies and the Expos. And I have a feeling these might not be that close compared to how these fared against their Elite Eight opponents. But we're going to vote on them now. We have 5 people here and 2 people not here. So hopefully we'll be able to get the answers here. If not, you're going to have to wait till the next podcast. But let's start it out with the American League, with the Athletics and the Rays. So let's start it off with Shane, because we already know which one he's picked.
Well, hold on. It's going to be the Athletics. So, yeah, I'm just going to keep pounding it in everyone's head. The all-white uniforms with the white cleats is just sex and clothes, which is just weird to say, but it is.
All right, next, let's jump to the creator of the bracket, Andrew.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Athletics on this one as well. I think a lot of the uniforms honestly beat the Rays' best one. I think this one isn't too close in my opinion.
All right, very fair. Rays are down 2-0. Next, let's get a Scott.
Athletics, best hat in baseball. Athletics win.
All right, and Rob, can you make it a sweep for the Athletics?
Oh man, as much as I love those old Devil Rays multi-neon colored logos, I'm gonna have to make it 4L for the Oakland Athletics.
Woo!
Those green uniforms, as I've said a few times, pure sex.
All right, well, I guess
into existence.
I guess my Rays pick will have to go unexplained. The Athletics take a 4-1 lead, which means that does not matter what you do.
Why are you picking the Rays over the Athletics?
I'm staying consistent.
That's ridiculous.
Hold
on.
It took me a while for the Royals because I truly wasn't a big fan. I loved all the Royals uniforms. Don't get me wrong. All of the fighting, all of the research I put into Royals versus Athletics was because those two were very even matched in my head, and the Rays are better than both.
Oh my sweet. I'm so disappointed in you, Sean.
I'm staying consistent. I love the today uniforms of the Rays, and as Rob mentioned, I think it was Rob or Scott, the old Devil Rays. I mean, those uniforms were great. The coloring schemes and everything. I mean, I didn't think I would have to explain this. Athletics moving on to the championship from the American League. So. Moving on to the National League, we have the Phillies versus, I didn't even write the Nationals. I wrote Phillies versus Expos.
Accurate.
So Expos / Nationals, and we're going to go in reverse order. Rob, start us off.
I mean, you got to go with the Phillies here. Not just being a homer, the Phillies, the classic red pinstripes. If they would go back to the maroon, and I'm not talking about those beautiful, fully maroon jerseys. No, I'm talking about the maroon pinstripes, the maroon hat, and then the baby blues that they wear on Thursdays. Those jerseys alone, enough to make it a decision in favor of the Phillies. I love the Expos uniforms, but you can't get better than the Phillies maroons.
All right. So 1-0 Phillies. Scott, you're up.
We're going Phils here. Pinstripes are awesome. That's really all I got to say on that. Go Phils.
All right, nice and easy. Andrew, go ahead.
I think I do think the Nationals uniforms are underrated, but I'm definitely going the Phillies on this one. The Phillies powder blue is better than the Expos powder blue. I'm going Phillies.
Shane?
Shit. 3 of you suck. It's 100% the Expos. Why do you guys like the Phillies uniform so much? And like,
You call
everyone's
yourself a
missing-
Phillies fan?
Of course, I call myself a Phillies fan. They look like shit out there every single night. That's a terrible red that they're using right now. But I think you guys have all missed the point at random matchups here. You guys are discussing multiple jerseys throughout the. You're supposed to pick one damn jersey, one uniform, the best of one versus the best of another, and the best versus the best here. It's the Expos. It's 3,000% the Expos. You go with that powder blue. You throw that sharp ass dark blue with it with the slight white accent and then the red. It's fucking gorgeous. It's a damn shame there's not a team there right now.
I think the Phillies powder blue beats the Expos powder blue though.
I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I'm so angry.
Well, one thing that means is that we're going to have to wait for one of the two Joes to give their opinion, because I'm also going to go with the Expos. And I have
You sucking up to me now?
I didn't pick the Athletics, your favorite uniform in baseball. What do you mean I'm sucking up to you?
That's what I said.
I'm
Are
saying-
you trying to get back in amongst your graces?
I picked the what was it? Who did the Phillies go up against last round? I don't even remember. It was Expos Cubs, and then it was Phillies
Dodgers.
Dodgers.
Yeah,
it wasn't Dodgers hasn't been around. It was
Oh, the Brewers.
Brewers. I picked the Brewers.
Oh,
Over
yeah.
the Phillies.
All
And
right,
then I
then.
picked the Expos over the Cubs, and Cubs almost stole it. But
All right, man. Well, maybe I'm not quite as mad at you as I thought I was.
I am actually, and this is a true story. So I'm currently a management major, like a business management. I want to get my master's in sports business at Temple. This is a true story. And I want to get somehow implanted into the baseball world somewhere, so that when the expansion inevitably happens in about 5 to 6 years, I'm in prime position to get a front office job with the Expos. That's my dream. I love the colors. I would gladly move to Canada. I love the cold. My room is always 10 degrees colder than the rest of the house. Everything about it. Like, I love the name, the Montreal Expos. I'm all for it. I'm ready for it. I've talked about this with, how into it I was with the Golden Knights. I want to actually be involved in an expansion draft. I want to be that guy. It's not going to happen. It's definitely a dream, but
You don't know.
I'm
Someone
going
let
with the
Matt
Expos.
Klentak be a GM.
that's well. He was Ivy League. I am not Ivy League.
Temple is basically Ivy League. At least that's what they told me in the pitch. So I don't know.
I mean, some people do call Temple the most Ivy League school in the city of Philadelphia.
It's accurate.
Yeah,
Very accurate.
I think it's very common.
Yeah.
So that will conclude our uniform bracket for today. Athletics almost clean sweep the Rays already. Athletics are moving on to the championship.
Damn
And
right.
we eagerly await the responses of Joe and Joe, Boric and Biscuit, to determine the winner of the Phillies and Expos, which the Phillies have the upper hand in 3-2.
I gotta threaten their lives, man. These damn people.
You can threaten their lives as much as you want. I have good faith in them to have good taste in uniforms and send the Phillies to the
Biscuit's
finals.
like got a hard on for the Phillies.
I
Everything.
don't think there's any way Biscuit goes against the Phillies.
None whatsoever. But I'm already texting them. That's it.
I don't know.
I'm playing dirty. I don't
Biscuit
care.
That's
enjoys
collusion.
Powder Blues. Biscuit loves the powder blues, and I think he likes the Expos powder blues better than the Phillies. But
Really?
I think so. I
Like-
could be completely wrong, but
Well, if it comes down to it, I
Let's
put my
bet on
full
what he's gonna
trust in
pick.
Boric to have a good head on his shoulders and vote for the Phillies.
This is tough. This is like two individuals I don't particularly trust. Shit. I'm going to find a way to get to them. Don't worry. The government finds a way to get to everybody. I'm going to find a way to get to every podcast member. It's going to happen.
I'm going to report you for not social distancing if Biscuit doesn't vote for the Phillies here, because that's clearly what happened.
Oh, my God. Well, Sean, thank you for taking over the uniform, and thank you for reminding me that I am not, in fact, as mad at you as I thought I was.
I swear to God, if the Joes vote for the Expos, I'm posting that Rux and collusion clip on our Twitter page.
Won't matter, because I trust the people. The people are 100% going to back this. The Expos are so whatever. Fuck it. They're so much better. All right. So we at least have the Athletics in the championship, which you're all welcome. I spoke that into existence, and I take full responsibility. I take like 87% responsibility because the franchise did put those uniforms out there, so they get at least 13, but no one knows about it except for me and Scott, because he knows good hats when he sees one. But we're going to go to the other half, the back half of our every Sunday or every weekend podcast that we do here for CTP. We're always going to have some sort of lighthearted kind of a bit. Last week we did an AMA bit, learned about a bunch of, I think, was it 6 out of the 7 podcast members were on last week? A little bit less this week, but still. Last week we had AMAs where it was half baseball related, half not. This week, Andrew, if you do not already follow him on Twitter, you should totally do so. It's at AJ_Santangelo. Shameless plugging on your behalf.
Thank you.
No problem, man. Also, put podcast at the end of any sentence or word ever after an at, and it's probably his. So you'll find him no matter where you go on Twitter. But he does daily polls, and he's put together the top 20 or 21, if I'm not mistaken, polls of his last year and a half or so. So he's going to pose those poll questions to all of us on this show. Andrew, take it away.
Okay, so let's go. I'm gonna go actually first one I'm gonna go with that's not on the list because it was last night's and it's currently 50-50. So I am curious on what everyone's take is. So the question is, are you guys a fan of scary movies?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I mean, sure, why the hell not?
I couldn't
not
click yes
particularly.
fast enough.
Not for me.
Well, why
Scott?
not? Why not?
Well, we've talked a little bit about this off pod. I'm not a huge movie guy. It's one of the weirder red flags about me. So, if anyone thought I was normal up until this point, I'm sorry to ruin your expectations. But on the rare occasions outside of quarantine that I'm sitting down for a movie, I don't particularly want to be scared. I'll take a thriller a little bit to get my heart going or comedy, but my choice is usually not scary.
Okay.
I think thrillers kind of are horror movies now. Like it's all about natural, like building up of anxiety and tension. Like jump scares are just, like they exist, but they're not phenomenal. I think it's more so psychological than anything. So I think
agree with
thrillers and horror is kind of the same thing.
Yeah. And it's personally my favorite genre, and that's why I posed
what I
this
like
question
reading.
last night. Cause what was that?
That's what I like reading most.
That's why I love to read those too. I think it's because of Stephen King. I became a big fan of his books, and I started watching all of his movies, like a lot of his movies. So I kind of became a big fan of horror stuff.
I don't think
You
I've
watched The
ever read
Outsider yet?
Oh,
What was it? I've not seen The Outsider.
Okay, that's a HBO show that came out. It was about a Stephen King book, and I think they're showing it for free during the next couple weeks of quarantine still. So if you find yourself, not podcasting or not tweeting out hilarious polls, which you've probably got about 3 minutes left in the day, Andrew, you could knock this one out.
All right, perfect. I will add that to the list because I love the book he wrote. It was a really good book.
the funniest thing about The Outsider is I've seen every episode but the finale, and I completely forgot about that show.
Yeah, I actually haven't watched the finale yet either.
How
but
do you do
I
that?
need to
Okay,
do that.
you don't think it took a drop as the episodes went on? It became less and less interesting.
It did. It absolutely did.
I think it had a close your ears. I'm not going to spoil anything. Actually, never mind. But I think it had a big part in something that happened that a certain writer was no longer part of the show, and I think that's when it started to take a drop. Truly, because I don't know how to describe this without spoiling anything, so I'm going to stop talking now.
I just love the fact that you just told a bunch of podcast listeners and hosts to close their ears.
I was more talking to Andrew. If he's actually going to watch it.
You just earmuffed all of the United States because everyone is listening to us.
Who's to know, like, when it's okay to come back? Like that one
You're
guy
right.
likes to
You're
like,
right.
not listen and be like, I got it. And then
There's
needs
this
to roll out.
automatic tick in their head that tells them to start listening again in about 15 seconds.
Oh, God.
Well, let's do this. If we ever need to avoid a spoiler again, what we'll say is tell someone to sing the Eagles fight song quietly to themselves while they cup their ears and leave the podcast going on in the background. When they're done singing the fight song, the spoiler will be over.
There you go. Perfect.
Wasn't that the tip that people are using to count off how long you should be washing your hands?
Yeah, that's
You've
like
got to
happy
count
birthday.
how long.
I thought it was happy.
You're an
birthday.
idiot.
Happy birthday twice, people are saying, which is an absurdly long time to wash your hands.
Filthy human Scott doesn't like movies and doesn't know how to wash his hands. cool.
Well, singing "Happy Birthday" was too long for Biscuit versus telling an embarrassing story last pod. So
That's true.
Which ended up being a
Callback.
sad story instead of an
it
embarrassing
was.
story.
I know, it's fucking
I
heartbreaking.
listened to that today, and I was like, I don't
Oh, tough stuff. Anyway, back to Andrew
All right.
for more.
Moving on to the next one. It's what is the better filling in chocolate, peanut butter or caramel? And let's start with you, Scott.
This is a tough one because I'm allergic to peanut butter, but
What?
I used to. Yeah, it's a
When the
weird
fuck
thing
did
that
that
happened
happen?
later on in life. Not like deathly allergic, but I think peanut butter and chocolate taste better. I just can't eat it. So against my own health, I'm gonna say peanut butter.
I respect that, but hold on. You and I are the pickiest eaters that I've ever known growing up. We lived off peanut butter crackers. Like, you would have thought we were both homeless.
Yeah.
When
I
did
was
that
just making
happen? And you
myself
can't
sick.
eat chicken? And how do you exist? Like, as a human, how the fuck do you exist? And you're in LA, so you can't get bread. Oh my God, I feel bad for you. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ. The answer's chocolate, by the way. But and if anyone says
chocolate
differently-
inside of chocolate.
or peanut butter. Sorry, we're talking about peanut butter. Chocolate inside of chocolate. If you go dark chocolate with milk, it's probably okay. I don't really know, but it's peanut butter is the correct answer. My bad. Wait, is anyone going to say caramel? Because that's gonna
Yes.
bother me. Wow.
I am a caramel fanatic. I like caramel topping more than I like chocolate. Like what is it? Like over ice cream. Like
Like a
I
drizzle?
used to get Like I would put that on top before I would put chocolate on top. Absolutely. I am a caramel. Like caramel's my favorite like dessert flavor. Like going off of what I said on Backyard Beers and Football. The other thing that I tasted besides moonshine was whiskey, and my favorite whiskey flavor is salted caramel whiskey. And if you've never tried it from Tennessee, find a way to get it shipped to you. Go to your nearest alcohol store and look for salted caramel whiskey. It will change your life.
That actually sounds amazing. I'm not gonna
It
lie.
does. I'm
It's-
Googling it right now.
It tastes better than it sounds. I promise you that.
All right, so not to hate on caramel, I do enjoy caramel, but it's got to be peanut butter. I actually got for Easter, I got one of those big chocolate shell bunnies, and what I'd do is I would break it into pieces, and each piece I would dip in a can of peanut butter.
I actually respect that. I
Yeah,
can't believe it.
That sounds
That's-
amazing.
Great
Yeah.
innovation over there.
I probably gained a good, 5 or 10 pounds by doing that, but totally worth it. It was so good.
Oh man,
It's a
I hope-
holiday. It doesn't count.
It's a quarantine. Nothing counts, which is good because I'm sitting here looking at a mirror in studio, and I just looked to my left and realized maybe I should never answer this question and never taste sweet again. I don't know why Stephanie's with me. She's way more attractive than I am. God, I feel bad. I'm probably like sweating and hacking all the time. That's awful. Jesus. Anyway, keep
It's
going.
time for the next question.
Oh yeah, Scott did answer.
All right, so next one is, if say you're on your playlist or whatever on Spotify, and you're listening to a song, but you look for another one, you accidentally hit the skip button. Are you going back to the song and restarting it? Are you sticking with it being skipped, or are you fast forwarding back to the spot you were at? Let's start with you, Sean.
Entirely depends on the song. Entirely depends on where I was in the song. But 9 times out of 10, I will go right back to where it left off. I can close my ears long enough to not have any of the rest of the song that I've listened to 1,000 times spoiled to me.
Okay. What about you, Shane?
I don't know if this is me being like lazy or what, but like if something happens and I accidentally skip part of the song and just like that's it. It's in the past. It's done. Rafiki style, just moving on. Can't do it.
Rob?
I'm going back to the beginning of the song. If it's a song that I really like, then, that's basically all that's on my playlist, the song that I really fucking like. So I'm going back to the beginning because I need to hear the full thing.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm always going back and just restarting it. I think it's getting the whole song back in it, and I think that's the best bet. But what about you, Scott?
Yeah, I'm starting it over again. Rob, not to say nice things to you because you're terrible for not cutting your sandwiches, but I've been on a country kick again since you'd suggested some stuff. I came across the Brothers Osborne the other day, who I had never
Great
heard
band.
of, and They're
Great band.
fantastic. And I've been restarting plenty of their songs because I can't get enough of it lately. So,
But it's
Actually,
different. Are you restarting it once it's like at its end, or are you like stopping it in the middle and you're like, fuck, I want to feel the beginning of this song again?
I mean, even if there's like 15 seconds left, I'm going back to the beginning.
yeah, that's how I've been too. Like, say I'm listening to a song, you get a phone call, it gets interrupted, I've got 10 seconds left in it. I hop off the phone, I'm going back to the beginning.
Huh.
I actually had an instance as I was driving to work the other day where I got stuck at a railroad crossing, and as I was listening to one of my favorite songs, a freight train blasted its horn maybe like 5 or 6 times for a total of about 30 seconds. And it was to the point where I legit, after the train passed, I went back and I restarted the song.
Yeah, it's an interesting story. Do you have one that embarrasses you?
I'm working on it. You only gave me like less than a
I'm
show
just
to come up
I'm
with
just
it.
taking
So
your temperature. I'm just taking your temperature. I want to know where you're at in this process right now.
you get what you bargained for. So it's not going to be the greatest story.
That's okay. Andrew,
Okay,
keep
well,
it going.
let's give you more time to think, and we'll go to the next one. I think this has come up before on one of these podcasts, if I believe, but subtitles or no subtitles when you're watching a TV show or a movie? Let's start with Rob.
No fucking subtitles. It takes up like half the screen.
What? Whatever.
No, seriously. It takes up enough of the screen to be a problem.
It's usually just on the bottom. It's not
Right.
not that much of the screen.
Whatever.
I also think
Still,
you can
no
adjust
subtitles.
the size.
Yeah, I was gonna say
No
unless you have it on
subtitles.
like extra large.
Absolutely. I have too many bad experiences with subtitles. My dad loves putting the subtitles on the TV, and then when I go to watch a sporting event or something like that, and the subtitles are covering the score line, and I have to go through like all the different options on the remote to figure out how to remove them, it's just no subtitles. I'm done with subtitles.
That does sound traumatizing.
Shane?
I myself am not particularly for the subtitles. However, I am someone who likes to multitask. So if I'm in the kitchen and I'm cooking, I'll have subtitles on then. So like, I know this doesn't help the group, splitting it like that. But if I'm sitting down just in front of the TV, my ears still work for now. I'm good with it. But if I'm doing anything else, I do like subtitles on. That way I can, still keep up with the dialogue.
Okay, that's fair. Scott?
Not with normal viewing. I don't normally have subtitles on, but I was watching a British movie the other day. It's called Startup. It was pretty good, but I went 20 minutes into the movie and didn't understand a word that was being said the entire time. And I turned to my roommate and I was like, "Hey man, do you mind if I turn the subtitles on?" And he's like,
Deja vu.
Thank God. Like I haven't understood anything that was going on the entire time. So it's got a time and a place for it.
That was amazing that you don't remember telling us that story.
Oh, I do remember telling that story.
Okay, just making sure.
See, I've only got like 4 relevant things that have happened to me in the last month, so I've just been retelling the same stories over and over again.
Quarantine brain, gotcha.
Yeah.
No problem. I actually thought I was losing my mind for a minute, and I was like, "The fuck is going on?" I thought it was like Truman Show, and I was watching my own life. I didn't know it was up.
Man, could you imagine if like that actually happened to you? Like you just find out one day that your whole life has been on camera.
I would be very embarrassed. Very embarrassed.
What about you, Sean?
So most of the time I watch streams or whatever it would be when like I would have subtitles on when I'm laying down or like about to sleep or, just relaxing, but I'm usually laying back, and it entirely depends on whether or not they're on at the beginning. And if I'm already settled, if they're on at the beginning, I leave them on. I don't even care to change it. But if I'm not settled and I put something on and I see that they're on and I don't want them on because I've already either seen it or don't need it, I'll turn them off. And then halfway through, like I'll hear a sentence once and not hear it, go back 10 seconds, listen to the same sentence, not hear it again, and get annoyed and turn on subtitles, and then they're on for the rest of the movie. So I don't really have a good answer for this one.
I'm big on subtitles. I don't know. I don't know if it's because I like to read or whatnot, but I also think I have bad hearing sometimes. So sometimes I think it's just hard to hear the show, or sometimes characters like mumble. So I'm big on subtitles.
Right, and I feel like I agree with the people that say it takes away, like sometimes it's too big, or like you spend the entire time reading instead of actually watching. And, I'm impartial to it. It doesn't bother me, but I do sometimes feel like I just want to watch it and not be reading the entire time because your eyes just kind of go to it automatically.
That's fair. With me, once you get used to it, I think it's there. Like you can like take your eyes off it and go back and actually when you want to read it and stuff. I don't know. I think you can get it off. You get your eyes off it. That's why I don't mind it. I'll never use it for sports games or events, so I don't like. Again, I think I forget what it was. Might have been Rob. It kind of blocks the scoreboard in that sense. So I won't use it for that, but just for TV shows and movies. If I'm watching something and I have the choice, I'd always go subtitles.
I don't even want to hear the announcers when I'm watching a sports game. I don't like. Well, how would I want to see it on the screen?
That is very true.
And I don't blame you for not wanting to hear Ben Davis.
Back-to-back pods, we brought up Ben Davis.
That might be like 3 or 4.
KILT, kilt.
That's my biscuit impression right there. That's how he delayed laughs.
I truly thought he
was
joined the
pretty
call. I thought he came in here. That was amazing.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. That's where I'm at here.
I was
Been
actually
practicing all quarantine.
I was going through some of my cards the other day, and I found a card of Ben Davis's rookie year. I was just laughing. I was like, what are the chances I have a Ben Davis card?
I have one too. It's ridiculous.
Fairly certain I've got one somewhere.
It was like the least player I was expecting to find. But moving on to the next one, crushed or cubed ice. Has anyone not started one? Shane, I don't think you started one yet.
The answer's crushed. It's always crushed. I got nothing. Yeah.
Scott?
Cubed, but mostly because I need it for whiskey. It's really the only thing that I throw ice in.
Waters it
You
down
need a
too
big
quick.
old cube. Yeah.
Rob?
Cubed. Anyone who says crushed is a psychopath.
Oh my god.
I'm on the side of crushed. What about you, Sean, first?
I want the cylinder shape that's like hollow on the inside. So I guess
So
cubed.
crushed.
That's cubed. I would say
Pretty much.
no, that's
If
cubed.
it's hollow, it
It's
immediately
cubed.
becomes crushed.
it's
Cubed.
embrace debate.
It's like
I think
cylinderish.
it's a cylinder and it's hollow on the inside, but
It turns
it's closer.
to crushed.
It's closer to cubed than crushed, I think.
Yeah, I'm certainly siding with cubed on that.
Yeah, when you first get it, it is a cube. I mean, so it is.
It's circular, but it's still a cube.
We're gonna have to cite geometry here and give you guys a quick lesson on it. Circles are not squares.
But it is closer to cubed than crushed. It's a bigger solid, ice cube cylinder.
I don't know. My brain's too rooted in math to agree with this one.
So there we go. We're more than
it's-
just a baseball podcast. We go geometry.
It's technically it's a cubed. It's not an ice cube. It's an ice cylinder, but it's closer to a cube than crushed.
Yeah, I get
I'm
what
just
you're
so
saying.
bothered by the fact that you guys all didn't say crushed. Scott in his particular case, I wholeheartedly agree, but that's a drink specific. But if you're going overall,
If I had to choose, plain ice cubes like in an ice cube tray or crushed ice, I'm going crushed. But I love if you guys have ever heard of or been to PDQ, they have that cylinder. Like some restaurants have that.
I know what you're talking about.
cylindrical- Okay.
It's a fine ice cube. Don't get me wrong. I respect it. It's just not. It's not a cube.
It's a fine ice cube.
The expert on ice cubes and sandwiches.
Here we go with the ice cube connoisseurs here on the CTP.
Oh God,
My brand is becoming a weird thing.
that's
What
fine.
point does
Embrace
that-
it.
Beard oil,
Yeah,
ice cubes, and sandwiches.
Well, crushed ice cubes are for psychopaths. That's all I'm gonna say.
Uncut sandwiches.
At a certain point, we're all
Uncut
gonna
sandwiches
commit it.
are fucking spectacular, just like cubed ice cubes are.
I can't wait to accidentally be out at lunch together at some point, and you grab half a sandwich and tell me how good it tastes, and I'm gonna be like, man, it's because it's cut, and you're not even gonna remember why.
I'm not just gonna grab half a sandwich.
Are you shitting me? They're gonna cut it for you. You're not gonna turn to the
I'll
waiter
tell them
waitress.
not to cut it.
Can you imagine how
They'll
weird
kick
that
you
would
out
be?
of the store. Yeah.
Right? They'll be like, I'm sorry, sir. It has to come this way. We refuse to serve anyone of your kind.
Yeah.
Racism does not exist in this establishment, but uncut toast
Well, then
does.
I'm leaving. I'm leaving.
Sit
I'm
your
getting
ass on the
up and I'm
curb.
walking out.
Oh my God.
I'm leaving the tab with everyone else.
That's not true. We would have 100% hijacked your credit card. No big deal.
Yeah, good luck doing that.
All right, moving on to the next one. I'm going to extend the choices on this one just because Twitter only gives you 4 choices, but there's going to be obviously more than 4 social media platforms. But if you could delete any or one social media platform, which one would it be? And I think, Shane, you responded to this when I put the poll out there, so why don't we wait for you to do you last. So let's start with Scott.
I'm not a big social media guy, so all of them except for Twitter could kind of just go away and I wouldn't really notice. But you get rid of Facebook. It's fine with me.
Okay, Rob?
Honestly, if I could, I would delete every single one except for Instagram, because Instagram, you get to look at beautiful women. But if I had to pick just one, it would have to be Facebook, just because Twitter we use obviously for the podcast and promoting and that kind of stuff. Facebook, honestly, it's kind of useless. People post about what's going on in their life, and their 1,000 and some odd friends don't care.
Except
You're not-
Steph,
you're not
she's
wrong.
very involved.
There are some good memes going around on Facebook, though, so it does have that. But still, Facebook's getting the axe for me.
Sean?
It's easy. It's Facebook. But if you use the 3 that I use, as often as I do, it's Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. I would get rid of Snapchat because truly, other than keeping a streak with my girlfriend, I use it for group chats. And yeah,
Use a Snapchat for group chats.
I don't know. I have weird friends.
I do too. I've had so Snapchat came out when I was a senior in college, and we would just send back ridiculous pictures to each other, things that we could not have the rest of the world see and needed to be deleted afterwards. And I've kept that just disgusting group chat going with my friends for, I guess, 6-7 years at this point. So can't live without that.
Well, for my friends, it's easy. It's the easiest way to have a group chat that's not a text group chat, because as we've seen, because we all moved to WhatsApp, text group chats get screwed up when somebody doesn't have an iPhone. So thank you to whoever that is.
So just blame the people who don't have. How about blaming the people who do have iPhones? That's
Well, I think it has an easy messaging. I don't know. But your messages get screwed up. They don't send all the time. They get sent out of order. And my one friend has friend from home has an Android, I believe. So we use Snapchat for group chats.
Well, at least your friend from home has good taste in phones.
Shane?
Get rid of everything. I don't want anyone contacting me. It's ridiculous.
I knew you were going to say this.
Yeah, I hate social media so much. I go through like my phases where like I use it efficiently and well, and like I'll get us a bunch of new views or anything for the podcast, and that's fine. But like, if I had my choice, I would never speak to another human being outside of those with which I choose to speak with ever again.
Honestly, you probably get more Twitter love than any of us.
Rob, I'm fucking hilarious.
Intentionally or unintentionally.
Mixture of both. I embrace it all. At one point in my life, I was rather, at least a 5.5 on a scale of 10. I'm sure I attracted someone.
Hey, you got stuff, so there you go.
Yes, and that only makes things worse. Anyone in a relationship knows how jacked up other people are. They see something they can't have, they need to have it. That is not the case with me anymore, and I have to imagine it's something to do with what I see in the mirror at this current juncture. But yeah, man, I hate all social media so much.
Okay, I don't know. I like interacting with a bunch of different people. I like social media. I know I'm on it too much, but I think it's just a good way to get other people's views on things. And honestly, if I'm picking one, it's Instagram, because I feel like it's more about pictures, and I'm not a big picture person. So actually, I don't even have an Instagram, so it's the one social media platform I don't have. So I could easily get rid of Instagram.
The only one I don't have is Snapchat. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I don't have.
It took me a while to download Snapchat, but eventually I finally got it in college. But I definitely waited like 4 or 5 years after it came out.
Isn't that weird though?
Yeah, it's really weird.
Like if you're the guy who doesn't have any type of social media, or does Scott, or doesn't, or is like adamantly against it, and then one day you're like, I'm just gonna sneakily download this and see if anyone notices or makes a big deal out of it. That's like your non-drinking friend going to the bar and being like, oh, I'll have a shot at Jack. Everyone looks at you and makes a big fucking deal out of it. You can't sneak once. If you don't get in on something right away when everyone else is, you can't be the guy that gets in that much later. So I'm shocked that you were able to do it, Andrew.
Well, it's because like it ended up being where everyone else always use Snapchat, and then it's like, okay, you almost feel like you're not in the loop with everything else that's going on with all your friends and stuff. So it's like I felt like it almost became like a need to get it, because it seemed like at one point in life it was the only way people contacted each other. So it's like you're not gonna get contacted unless you had a Snapchat. It's a shame it came down to that, but it's like all people that used it at that point.
Hard no.
But I was also that person I waited till I was 21 to drink, so I know that feeling too. The first time I went to a bar and drank with some of my friends, they were like shocked. They're like, "Oh, I didn't know you were gonna start drinking when you turned 21."
Oh, there you go.
So I know both those feelings. But moving on to the next one. This is another one I like. If you had the option and you can only choose one of them, would you go into the future or back in time? And we'll go with Shane first.
Fuck. I guess I would go back in time and make bets. But that's about it. Like, I wouldn't want to live any other part of my life. Like, I would just like want to capitalize on that. But like, I would not, like, I don't want to go in the future. I actually think that it's part of my favorite book that I've ever read is someone who can see everything that's going to happen before it happens. And like, man, I would end it. That would be, what a miserable way to live, to just know every step of what's going to happen. But then like, I also like, man, I'm not too pleased with a lot of my life decisions. I'd like to not revisit those. But if I had to choose one, it would be the past, and I would do nothing but make money. And that's kind of it. And maybe like if I had the opportunity to write something, like I probably wouldn't do some of the dumb shit that I did over the years.
Sean?
Back in time, not for the same reasons as Shane, but because I don't want to know what's going on in the future, but I would like to see some things that happen in history. I'd like to see how people live through that stuff.
Okay. Rob?
I'd have to agree with them, but also for a different reason. I would go back in time just because I've always felt like I was meant to live in like the 1950s as opposed to the 2020s.
Yeah, I dig that.
Plus baseball was it's always been America's pastime, but the game was in its purest form back, in days past as opposed to what it is right now.
I know you're not shitting on a game of baseball on a baseball podcast. God damn.
Hey, I'm complimenting what it used to be. I'm not shitting on what it is right now. I'm just complimenting what it used to be. Yeah, fuck the process.
This is the national.
Whoa. You're talking
shit about my sandwiches, but not the process, Rob. Come on.
No, seriously. Fuck the evolution of the game of baseball. It was so much better way back in the day.
Dear God.
Joel Embiid forgives you.
Just bring him a Big Mac.
Scott?
I'm going back in time as well. I have no desire to go into the future, and kind of similar to Rob here, I've always felt like I'm destined to live at a previous time. I think my temperament, maybe it's just because I'm a grouchy old man half the time, but I feel like my temperament is better suited for maybe like the 60s, 70s, 80s kind of thing. 90s were great, but I don't know. Just I'm more of a guy for a previous time.
Okay. And next one, traditional or boneless wings? Let's start with Scott.
I'm gonna pass because I am allergic to chicken and can't eat wings. But I'll pretend it's about it's okay, man. I would probably go bone in because I'm thinking ribs in my head, and ribs are better than pulled pork, so we'll go bone in.
Okay. Rob?
Oh man, this is a toss up for me. I'm not really a huge wings guy, but when I do eat them, I tend to go traditional more often than I go boneless. So I would have to go traditional.
Sean?
I like them both. I don't really have a preference. I'd say boneless just because it's easier. But Yeah, I don't really have a preference.
Shane?
Definitely traditional. I mean, otherwise you're just really eating like a chicken nugget. It's just
Thank
weird. Like it just doesn't work out for me. But and like plus like the bone and everything that's there that provides so much of the flavor and like to keep it tender and juicy. Like it's so necessary. It just tastes so much better. Like sure, it's a pain in the dick to eat sometimes. Like if you're not used to eating wings, but like the payoff's so much better.
Exactly, and I feel like the boneless wings don't always get like the sauce, whatever sauce you choose, doesn't always get on the chicken either. So like, I feel like there's always a lot of it that's basically sauceless, and like you said, traditional just gets the flavor better.
Yeah, 100%.
It is one thing that I've always been kind of not so much ashamed of, but I've never been a big wing guy. And everybody says, look, football and like wings and pizza or whatever it is. And it's like, I've never been somebody that's been big on wings. And I have to say it's one of the most attractive traits of my girlfriend. She loves wings and like knows where the best ones are. And she eats it like, she knows what she's doing. And it's
I
one
can
thing I appreciate.
understand why you like that.
But no, just that's I was never raised on that, so I've always been, it's easier when it's boneless. It's not as much of a hassle. I will say sometimes it definitely tastes better if it's traditional. It's just, I'm lazy, so
that's fair.
Yeah.
Wrong, but fair.
All right, so keep one and then lose one. Which one are you keeping, pizza or pasta? Let's start with Sean.
Pizza, keep, lose the pasta.
What the
All right, Shane, you can have next.
the answer, hold on. All right. Do you know how versatile pasta is and how integral it is to the diet?
Yeah. All right. So real quick. Does pasta include like mac and cheese? Like you can't have mac and cheese?
Yes, it's
Yes,
a fucking
All right.
yes.
I'm still keeping pizza.
Why would you even ask it then? Oh my god. I'm pacing around my room right now. I'm so passionate about food. Pasta's the best food that you're ever going to have in your entire existence. Pizza is dog shit. 99% of the time, it's just something that everyone loves pizza. It's gotten so watered down that it's such a piece of shit food. Almost anywhere that you go to get pizza, it tastes no fucking different than the next place down the street. It's garbage. All of it. Even if you make it at home, I bet you it still sucks. But it doesn't.
You gotta stop eating Domino's, man.
I don't eat that shit. I work at a
If you don't
restaurant
eat that, then how do you believe that pizza is garbage? Because all the pizzerias, they are fantastic pizza.
Tastic? That sounded really weird how you just said that, Rob. How the fuck? Man.
Am I in the minority here? Can we get everybody else's opinion?
I'm keeping pasta, but what about you, Rob?
I'm keeping pizza, hands down.
Thank you.
Not even thinking twice about it.
That's not a bit in your favor.
The psychopathic reason.
Yeah.
What are you taking, Scott?
I'm going pasta just for the sake that it's so versatile.
Yes.
I'm one to like forget pasta exists for a couple weeks and then I'll make myself some and be like, oh my god, I've been so wrong for these last couple weeks, and then that's all I'll eat for a week. Like,
Yes.
There's also there's so many options. Like I wouldn't be able to go without like I don't know, Alfredo, fettuccine, spaghetti, mac and cheese. Like there's just so many more options. I mean, I know you can get different toppings on pizza, but like eventually pizza would just run dry, I feel like.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I make my own homemade pasta, so I spoil myself, but I always have homemade pasta. And you just, whatever the hell you want to eat, you can always put pasta with it. Any protein that you want. If you're just like, fuck it, I think I'm going to make some kind of a lemony garlic sauce. Throw it on the pasta. Throw whatever chicken you got in there. It's fucking delicious. What do you do with pizza?
Reheat it. That's all you
tastes
need
like
to do
shit.
with it.
Wait, real quick. Rob, do you cut your pizza or does it taste better when it's the whole pie?
He folds.
I mean, I don't cut my slices. That's something a psychopath would do.
Good question.
That's crazy. Like when I used to work at a pizza place and like you'd put their pizza next to their table, whatever, and you just see them start eating their slice with a fork and knife. I'm like, what are you doing?
Oh,
But
I hope, Rob. You know what? I hope the next time, God willing, there's sports come football season, and we can, interact with other humans within 6 feet. I hope that you come over and you order a pizza and you say, please don't cut this. I'd like to fold it. That's it.
Is that a dare? Is that a dare?
That's just all I need in life. Yeah, you know what? That pie's yours. I will pay for that pie.
All right, sounds good. It's a deal.
You know what else I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make you pasta and make you shut the hell up.
I mean, you can go ahead and make me pasta. That doesn't mean I have to eat it.
I mean, who's gonna pass up pasta homemade?
Yeah, you can't pass up pasta.
I mean, when I'm full of pizza, yeah.
The better
Good
food.
Lord.
You at least take it to go and then eat the pasta tomorrow.
Cold pasta is great too.
It is.
It is.
Can't go
Cold
wrong.
pizza.
It's cold pasta is second to cold pizza, easily.
Oh my God.
Well, moving on, but I'll keep it on the pizza topic. This was yesterday's question, so this isn't on the list either. But when you reheat pizza, are you putting it in the oven or microwave? Whoever wants to start can start.
I'm going microwave.
You're an ass.
I'm
Put it on a
seconding
pizza
that.
stone in the oven.
I'm seconding the microwave. It's
That means I
easier.
actually have to go ahead and find the pizza stone. I'm too lazy for that.
Just leave it in there.
I don't know where it is in the first place.
Dear God.
I am too lazy to wait for the oven to heat up to
Sound
put
like
it in there
Stephanie.
for
Damn.
put it in there for 10 to 15 minutes. I can throw it in the microwave, heat it up for 30 seconds, and eat it half cold, and it's still better than pasta.
Yes,
Oh.
exactly. Exactly.
I hate you guys.
I don't care how chewy the crust gets.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So I grew up. I didn't know that you could reheat pizza in an oven, and then as soon as I moved out and realized that was an option, that's the only way I would ever reheat it. I'm a big fan of just if I eat say like 6 slices in a pizza, I'll freeze the other 2, and then when I come home drunk or whatever, or wake up and late and need a snack, I'll throw that frozen pizza into the oven, and it's amazing.
There you go.
I'm with Rob and Sean on this one. I'm a big microwave guy. I always
How?
microwave pizza. Well, I think it's because I've been living in a dorm for the last 5 years and I don't have an oven, so it's been really my only option. Microwave.
Buy a toaster oven or something. Like shit.
I'd rather eat it cold than out of the microwave, to be honest.
Yeah, right.
It's
Microwaving
gross.
anything is terrible.
I don't know if I've ever had cold pizza. I might have to give that a try.
It's not
I'm
bad,
sorry,
actually.
I said I never had cold pizza.
Jesus.
I've had room temperature, but I'm talking about out of the fridge or something.
Yeah, it's better hot, but cold can work.
Okay. All right. Next, with any type of barbecue, no matter what no matter what the main dish is the better side dish mashed potatoes or baked potatoes? Shane, let's start you.
It's baked potatoes only in that particular setting. Like if you're outside, you're barbecuing, you're throwing something on the grill, it's always that. But in any other potato option, the answer is mashed.
Okay. Rob?
Dear God, I might actually have to agree with Shane for once on food. No, I'm a fan of mashed potatoes, but for some reason it just doesn't kind of jive with barbecue. So I'm going baked.
Okay. Scott?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with the board here. Going baked in a barbecue setting.
Sean?
Yeah, I 100% agree with everybody here.
Whew, my blood pressure's setting back down. I'm feeling
we
good.
haven't heard
I
your
was about to say, I'm sorry, I'm going opposite. I'm going mashed potatoes.
Oh, that's all right. 4-1, still fine. I'm feeling all right. I got one cheek off the chair, but I'm doing all right.
It's nothing against baked potatoes, but it's just I don't know. I like it. Like with mashed potatoes, I like when the extra barbecue sauce kind of overflows, kind of mixes in well with the mash. I think.
Oh, that sounds disgusting. But you do realize that with baked potatoes, you can use the leftover baked potatoes to make gnocchi, which half this group won't like because you don't like pasta-based things. But it's fucking delicious.
What would you say you can make with it?
Gnocchi. Gnocchi,
Okay.
gnocchi, however you want to say it.
gnocchi.
Right. I did. I don't know. I don't know if I've had that, but
Really? I'm making that for someone next.
sounds good. On to the next one. What do you do with your syrup? Do you refrigerate it, warm it up, or keep it at room temperature when you go to use it?
Room
Let's go
temp.
with. All right, Rob, what did you say?
Room temp.
Okay.
I've never had syrup at any other. It's always been room temperature.
That's the way I always kept it, but I forget where I went. Well, I went to a friend's house or something. The next morning, they warmed it up, and I thought I never heard of it before, and it wasn't bad, but definitely prefer it room temperature. But Sean,
My family's always kept it in the fridge, and I don't mind it.
okay, Scott,
I think I'd do it room temperature, but it does taste better when they warm it up and bring it to you at a restaurant, though. I'm just way too lazy to do that.
Shane.
So I'm going to go all Sean on this one. I'm going to let you guys in on a small secret. I, in my entire life, have never had syrup. I just use butter on like pancakes and waffles. But I knew this question was coming up. I obviously got these poll questions the other day. So this morning, got pancakes, and I did all three things. I left one thing in the refrigerator. I had another one that was just out on the counter. And then I did another thing where I have like a little, pourer type thing. I put like a slab of butter in that and then poured syrup in and then heat that up. So it kind of melts the butter into the syrup. Threw that down. That is hands down the choice. I also don't love syrup, but if I'm going to do it, it needs to be warmed up with butter in it. And it's wonderful.
Okay. Wow. I'm surprised you've never had syrup before. It's just
Me too, looking at myself in the mirror.
That's dedication, though. I would
Thanks.
not have, if I had never had syrup before and somebody was going to ask me a question about syrup later in the day, I don't think I would go out of my way to try syrup.
What the
So-
Why not?
I
Live a little, kid.
I don't know.
Yeah, man, it was worth it. Like I didn't particularly enjoy something cold being thrown on something hot. That was just kind of weird to me. Didn't love that. Room temp was fine-ish, but then you throw some butter in there and heat that up and mix it around a little bit and then pour that over top. And man, that's the kind of obesity I'm in for.
You going to start eating syrup now?
I don't know.
Just drinking it straight out the bottle.
That will never
I was
happen,
gonna
Rob.
say like Super Troopers.
Jesus Christ. Not like Super Troopers.
Got those
Just
little
made me
bird
vomit
lips,
my
Shane.
mouth. Yeah, for someone who doesn't like movies, why is that the type of shit that you watch?
That's a stupid movie that you throw on, on a Sunday afternoon. So I've seen it hundreds of times.
Did anybody not answer that?
I don't know. I think
We all did.
I think we got it, yeah.
So the next one, if you could only write or type in this, would you choose all capital letters for the rest of your life, or writing in all lowercase for the rest of your life? We'll start with Rob.
All lowercase. I hate the people who type in all caps because it reads as if they're shouting at you. So I'm going all lowercase.
Okay, Scott.
Yeah, I'm going all lowercase too. I'm not a shout kind of guy, so I wouldn't want the world to think that I'm angry always and have uppercase typing. So it's got to be lowercase. But I'm not happy about it, Andrew. Not happy.
Let's be real. The only people who type in all caps are the older people who either don't know that they have caps lock on or they have to type in all caps in order to be able to see what they're typing.
And then they sign off their text. It's like,
Yep.
hey, how are you doing, Dad?
Sean.
I'll give this reason as to why, because I hate both of these too. You can make yourself, in terms of reading, you can make yourself sound like you're shouting when you're typing in all lowercase, but you can't make yourself sound like you're talking regular or whispering when you're in all caps. Does that make sense?
Yes, by the use of punctuation.
Punctuation and or, you can add an extra letter or, there's ways to emphasize in all lowercase that you want something to be read louder, but there's no way to do it vice versa.
Sure, parentheses, and inside the parentheses it says I'm not shouting, my caps lock is on. Doesn't exist.
I'm saying in terms of like reading a book. If I could only read a book in one or the other, I would choose all lowercase. Or if I had to type, I don't know. I still pick all lowercase.
I'm an all caps guy.
I agree. I agree with you, Shane.
Thanks, man. It's just cleaner. It just looks cleaner.
How's it cleaner?
Are you shitting me?
How's it cleaner? Seriously.
First of all, look, man. So when you sign anything in like cursive or whatnot, right? Almost everyone's like first letter is clean and perfect, and most of the time it's not even an actual cursive. It's just like a fancier, regular written form, right?
Or if you're me, it's fucking scribble.
Or if you're what?
If you're me, it's fucking scribble.
Well, I can't help you. But for most of us, that's the only thing that's legible. You start writing in all these little undercase things, it just looks funky. Everything's too round. I need the sharp edge lines, man. It
Shane,
just works out.
I'd like to see your signature because I think it would actually kind of look similar to mine if you think about it.
All right, man. I'm gonna write it down, send it to a quick jog, keep going.
Because I mean, if you're saying first and last letter, I mean, same with Scott too, but he has a longer last name. We all have very similar. Sean New, Scott Novick, and Shane Mead. I'm sure that all three names kind of look similar in a signature form.
Yeah, it starts out with a big S and then just a lot of scribble.
It's just and with what exactly, and with what Shane's saying is, I do a profound S and then it kind of gets smaller as it goes, and then big S N, which actually looks like a lowercase L when I look at it now, but and then just a bunch more scribbles. But I guess mine would be a lot shorter than yours.
And now that I think about mine is actually R followed by a squiggly line, and then G followed by a squiggly line.
That's kind of what mine looks like.
It's a sign we're all adults.
But,
I feel like that's just one of the signs of becoming older is your signature switches from readable to just loops and circles and shit. Like,
correct.
There's a point sometime around high school where I was actually practicing my signature as if I was going to become a pro athlete.
Oh, me too.
Everybody does.
I think everybody does that. I feel like signatures aren't meant to be read at this point.
That's way neater than mine. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No worries, man.
That's a pretty good signature. I like that.
We're gonna have to send these on the Twitter account so everybody can see them.
Well, I mean, if any of us end up famous, it's a free signature that no one really paid to get, so hard no.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest. No adult has a readable signature. Look at all the sports memorabilia that you have autographed. Would you be able to tell who signed it if you didn't know by being there in person or seeing like a number next to it?
Oh, no.
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
All of them? Every single one of them?
Not everyone, but some people write like you, Rob.
I want to put this to the test. I have a hat signed. I went to, and this is the hint. I have a hat that was signed by two guys on the Eagles that went to the softball charity game last season, and I'll send it in the group chat. And whoever can guess the two names or the closest to the two names, because they're pretty illegible, you win some kind of prize. I'll do that. Because I don't believe you, Rob. I think it's impossible to read any adult's handwriting.
That's what I said.
Signature. Oh, okay.
That's what I just
Never mind.
said.
Oh, yeah, you're right. My bad.
Yeah. By the way, Shane, I've seen your handwriting before. Don't be on your high horse, okay?
What the hell are you talking about? My handwriting is, legible.
I remember numerous occasions where you couldn't read your own handwriting.
And
I rest my case.
Chances are, if I was writing in scribble during a show, I have no fucking recollection of writing anything.
My point remains.
I had a friend in college who wanted to cheat off me and take all my notes and stuff and do no work. And he got 2 minutes into it and then complained and went, "Come on, man, you got to write way neater. I need you to redo all of this." And I took a step back and was like, wait, are you trying to cheat off me and then telling me that my handwriting sucks and I need to redo this for you? And we got into a huge argument about it, and he didn't think he was wrong. It was very strange.
It was very strange.
What a guy.
Yeah, not a good dude. Went to rehab for a while.
I don't know how we got from lowercase versus uppercase to handwriting.
Well,
That's the fun of the show. Moving on to the next one. I've never seen this movie, so I can't answer it, but I know it's a big debate around the world because people have asked me a lot. Is Die Hard? Do you consider Die Hard a Christmas movie? Let's go, Shane.
yes, it is.
The correct answer.
Scott?
Yeah.
I've never seen Die Hard either, so
Okay.
I can't weigh in on this one.
Rob?
Never seen it.
Okay.
Jesus. It's
And then-
the best Christmas movie, in my opinion.
God, I'm the only one.
All right. Well, I guess we'll just kind of skip that one.
You sending that football, man? I'm sitting here waiting to argue my case. Or whatever you got signed.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Send that.
Go
Yeah,
ahead,
you
go
guys
ahead,
keep
Andrew.
it a hat.
Go ahead, Andrew.
A hat, whatever.
We'll discuss this. We'll discuss this afterwards.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, so we got a good amount left. Do you want me to just do a couple more, or should I just finish this list out?
How many we got left?
We got about 10. I think 10. 9 or 10.
All right. Let's do one more. We'll add some more for the next one.
Okay, sounds good. Let's go with. All right, on a Thanksgiving meal, after the turkey's cut and everything, are you choosing the white meat or the dark meat? And we'll go you, Shane.
All right. So turkey is probably my favorite food. And then, like, I always remember that it's my favorite food when it's brought up in conversation. Here's the thing. The better meat by far is the dark meat, but you can really only have a little bit of it. White meat, if you want to just eat until you want to die, you could just keep eating that until you want to die. But if you want to go specifically for, like, taste alone, it's dark meat.
Okay, Scott?
I am allergic to turkey. It falls in the poultry family, so I am
I
going
thought,
to
I thought you were just talking about chicken. My bad. I didn't realize it was everything.
Yeah, anything that flies. Bats are still up for debate, but I'm not trying to start another goddamn COVID-19 virus, China.
Jesus Christ, I almost spit my coffee out.
Rob?
I'm generally pretty well lit up on Thanksgiving, but if I'm sober enough to realize what I'm putting on my plate, I'm going with the dark meat.
That was awesome.
Sean?
Definitely the light meat for me. I'm not a dark meat kind of guy. I don't really like turkey to begin with, which makes me hate Thanksgiving. So
How? How do you not like turkey?
I just don't like turkey.
I don't honestly do that. I think most people don't like turkeys that never had really good turkey because turkey's so easy to dry out. And if you dry it out, it is a miserable fucking meal. But if you do it right, like I brine mine for like 48 hours. It's ridiculous. And then it's absurd. The process
You've
that
also
I
got
go
to cut it right, too.
What's up?
You've also got to cut it right, too.
Yeah, I mean, it matters, but it doesn't matter quite as much as the process of cooking it. But yeah, I do. Most people who say that, like once they get like they end up their in-laws, they go for Thanksgiving for the first time and like they sit down, they don't want to be rude and they try the turkey and they're like, holy shit, this is the best thing I've ever had in my life because, well, it's the first time it wasn't dried out. So maybe you're just having like poorly cooked turkey.
Thanksgiving at Shane's house next year.
I'm all for Friendsgiving. Like I would have Friendsgiving constantly, every weekend if I could. Podsgiving. Yeah, that's fair. I would welcome everyone in my home specifically for that. But yeah, makes a huge difference. So don't knock it totally, Sean.
All right.
So do you eat it on Thanksgiving or do you go with something else, Sean?
Yeah, no, I eat it. I just don't enjoy it. You know, I'd get a larger helping of, the side stuff, the mac and cheese or pizza.
No stuffing?
Not a big stuffing guy either.
I'm not a big stuffing guy either.
I'll get mashed potatoes. I'll get the corn, whatever greens there. I like green bean casserole. I'll just kind of fill up on that stuff and say, I don't want another helping of turkey. Sorry.
That's pretty much what Steph did until she started dating me.
Well, I gotta try the turkey then. I gotta try this.
Don't sleep on the yams. You gotta load up on yams on Thanksgiving.
Oh, there you go.
Yams are a must.
Yeah.
Yams are a must.
Yeah.
I don't like yams. I can't eat them.
All right, well, we know that when we have you over for Friendsgiving, we can expect to have plenty of the good stuff left over.
There you go. So
Oh my
wait,
God.
so Scott, what do you eat on Thanksgiving then if you can't have turkey?
So I make a steak, and I would say it's Thanksgiving tradition because Shane can attest in our family when we have Thanksgiving, there's like 9,000 people there.
Sucks.
Everyone in the room, gets all their turkey. Then my steak gets brought out to me, and everyone makes fun of me for a good 2 to 3 minutes about how I'm eating steak, and they offer me some turkey. Joke hasn't been funny since ever,
Ever.
but it's a tradition, so it needs to be done, and I need to be laughed at for not following American traditions.
I'll
my
make you a
favorite.
steak
There you
for
go. Well,
Podsgiving.
a lot of times it is your mom that makes the steak. Or,
Oh, well, then I'm sorry, and I will definitely make you a steak.
Fair enough. I will take
Yeah.
you up on that because you cook a damn good steak.
That's apparently in the South, ham is bigger, sometimes bigger, depending on which where you
that's
go.
true.
And I didn't realize that until when I was at Oklahoma State. I didn't go home for Thanksgiving, so I went down to my friends in Texas, and they asked me like, "Do you want turkey or ham?" I'm like, I didn't realize ham was a thing on Thanksgiving. Like,
I do
it's
both.
something you never think of.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've done
we
the
have
ham thing before.
Yeah, it's fine. Like I do both for when I have her family over for like a second Thanksgiving, and mainly because they have two people on their side also who are not into poultry for whatever reason. But so yeah, we make both. But yeah, ham's a quality. Ham's such like a holiday meal.
Agreed.
Yeah, I don't think we ever have ham unless it's a holiday. It's
I
what
literally
always-
just had a ham and cheese omelet like yesterday because I made ham the night before. But yeah, it is weird. Only holidays.
But I don't know if anyone has anything else. But I think Shane, if you want to close it out with the ads.
Yes, sir. So again, Sundays or Saturdays, Sundays, whatever days we end up recording for CTP, these are going to be kind of this is basically what you're going to get. You're going to get a lot of arguing about baseball things, non-baseball things. Me and Rob will playfully be angry at each other, and Rob and Scott will be actually angry at each other. And that's pretty much how this is going to go. But one thing that we encourage you to do while you're listening to any of our pods, especially on the weekend, and if you are local to the Bucks County area, is go to Just Food. You can get them at 215-794-FOOD, 215-794-3663. Treat yourself, take it home. You're going to visit our guy, Asian Rob, who's also doing the artwork for our show. He is mainly based out of the Buckingham location. So if you're familiar with Peddler's Village, it's like 5 minutes from there. But honestly, trust him. Just walk in and just say, hey, Shane from ANYP or CTP said, pick out your favorite thing, and he is going to hook you up. And whatever he puts in that box for you is going to be absolutely delicious. And then you can also visit his brother, who runs the kitchen out of the Del Valle Market side, and they do a lot of the breakfast things. That's where, again, we say it all the time, Rob goes for his breakfast sandwiches. Awesome stuff over there as well. And then you can also, obviously frequent that farmer's market there and get a lot of fresh, good everything. So highly recommend that trip as well. But definitely give Just Food a try. You can also book them for all of your catering needs. And if you want a very special, very talented, and very funny and inappropriate bartender, it's me. I will bartend your wedding. And again, call them. It's Just Food, 215-794-FOOD, 215-794-3663. Treat yourself. Take it home. Last one we're going to give a quick shout out to is our intro-outro music. They are working on a brand new song specifically for CTP. We're very excited about that, but that is the Jackdolls. Go to their website or their Patreon. Both is just www.jackdolls.com or patreon.com/jackdolls. Support them, any other local musicians, local music shops, local restaurants, whatever you can. Help these people out. We don't know how much longer this quarantine is going to go, and depending on where you're at, it could be significantly longer than some other areas. But always be sure to frequent those shops as often as you can during these times. But that's going to be pretty much it here for this week's CTP. I'm going to give everyone just an opportunity real quick to give their Twitter links, despite the fact that most of us hate social media, except for Andrew. So I'm going to start with the one who enjoys it. Andrew, where can we find you and all of your links?
All right, so first, one podcast is at @true_Philly Sports, at Philly Sports Now, and at Pub Sports Radio. And then my personal Twitter is AJ_Santangelo.
All right, and then we can get Sean. Where can we get you?
You can find me on Twitter at SeanNew27, SeanNew27.
All right. And then, Rob, where can we find you?
You can find me at radio_Rob. I'm also a host of the Disciples of Ed Flyers podcast, which desperately needs a new episode put out. Shane is also on that, as is Boric as a guest occasionally, but you can find the Disciples of Ed podcast at Disciples of Ed on Twitter.
And then, Scott, where can we get you?
You can find me at SP Novik on Twitter. And yeah, that's about it.
All right, and then you can find me, the host of tonight's show. It's at Shane_Mead. And you can also find Whiskey Ramble. I always want to give him a shout out. We haven't put out a show in a while. We are going to eventually. But it is at Whiskey Ramble PC. That is over there with Whiskey Schmitty, Steve Schmidt. His at is at Schmitty324. But that's going to wrap this one up for CTP Pod. This has been fun. I really enjoy these Sunday episodes. So thanks again for joining us, guys. And we will see you, over the next 2 days with another more baseball-related pod.
A fighting man I used to be, revered and feared through Killarney. Now I'm back to hitching with the wind. But if Mickey Flynn should ever find me, I'll throw me caution behind me and square off on that son of a bitch again. He cracked open a river too, he beat me Sunday through and through, and so jig over my unconscious frame. I won me healthy sheriff fights, well lucky son still happy life since Mickey Flynn beat me dumb and lame.